One thing every diving officer and diving supervisor knows: there is no such thing as a routine dive. Whether a dive team goes in the water to inspect a ship's hull, read a poker gauge, or as a rescue swimmer, every dive has the potential for disaster. No matter what the underwater task, the successful dive, the safe dive, like this one, begins with careful planning. This dive started about 8 hours before, with the assignment of an underwater task, a Sonar Dome monthly routine. The diving officer immediately defines the task in terms of the resources required, the number of divers and equipment needed to complete the task safely. He considers water conditions, the temperature, current, water depth, dive depth, visibility, and any obstructions. He notes the dive location, considers any logistical support the divers may require, such as surface vessels or air transport. He also notes unusual hazards, such as oil spills, bottom obstructions, anything that could jeopardize a diver's safety. This attention to details, especially the small ones, is the difference between a safe dive and one that could end in tragedy. That's why the diving officer, the diving supervisor, and the individual divers use a systematic checklist to prepare for each dive. The checklists simply ensure that the dive team pays attention to the details, all of them. Each diver assigned to the task checks cylinders for rust, cracks, dents, or damaged valve assemblies. They check every piece of their equipment for excessive wear, splits, punctures, and leaks. Nothing goes overlooked, because anticipation, caution, and preventative safety checks are the best methods for dealing with the danger of diving and avoiding an underwater accident. The diving supervisor has a pre-dive checklist as well. He makes sure that everyone involved in the dive, divers, tenders, and standby divers, fully understand the details of the task and are familiar with emergency procedures should anything go wrong.
Safety is paramount at all times. I'll go through the emergency dive procedures first. If there is a dive emergency, I'll initiate it by a 1 thunder flash. I want all divers to surface outboard of the Montreal. Don't go in between the ship itself and the jetty. We'll be entering the water from the Zodiac. Immediately upon entry, I want all divers to buddy up. Floatman in first, and upon exit, floatman out last. I want to make sure all thunder flashes are there, the gear is ready to go, resuscitator, first aid kit, etc. Is that clear? Yeah. Is there any questions up to this point?
The diving supervisor then makes an item-by-item check of everything needed to complete the task and to ensure its safety. It's all done systematically and by the book. It's all done to make the checklist for safety every diver's habit.
QHM, this is Montreal Zodiac, Channel 10, over.
Montreal Zodiac, QHM.
QHM, Montreal Zodiac, diving operations commencing, November Echo at this time, over.
Roger, diving operations, jetty November Echo, over.
Montreal Zodiac out. Go. Okay, buddy up.
Once in the water, buddy pairs check each other's equipment, tools, lines. They adjust buoyancy, confirm their individual tasks and responsibilities, and dive on the order of the diving supervisor.
Okay, both divers happy? Stand Bye. Diving.
During descent, a diver keeps the mask at ambient pressure to prevent face squeeze and continually equalizes pressure in the ears. And once a diver reaches the work area, the diver signals arrival to the attendant in the safety boat. As the divers complete the task, they keep on the buddy line.
Coming up.
Both divers okay? Okay, into the boat.
The post-dive checks are every bit as important as the pre-dive checks. A dive is not finished until health and equipment checks are made and the dive report written.
Yeah, okay. No.
Okay, it was a good job. Well done. QHM, Montreal Zodiac, channel 10, over.
QHM.
QHM, Montreal Zodiac, diving operations complete. November Echo at this time, over.
QHM, roger, completed diving operations, Jetty November Echo, over.
Montreal Zodiac, out.
Upon completing a dive, divers follow standard procedures for maintaining dive equipment. They inspect for damage and defects, rinse the gear in fresh water, and stow it properly. The diving officer then writes a report on the dive. Sure, it's paperwork, but the dive is not completed until the paperwork is. Besides, reporting the circumstances, conditions, and results of every dive is the best way to correct deficiencies in equipment and training. It also helps the next person in their pre-dive planning and preparation.
At that time.
This dive
Is there any
was
questions up
a
to this
safe
point?
dive because it was properly planned and because all involved paid attention to details. They conducted pre-dive checks carefully and systematically, and they followed standard safety procedures during the dive and after it. The successful diver is the one who never ignores the little things.